Hello everybody, welcome to Experts and Residents for 2020, Insights and Innovations from around Australia. Thank you very much for participating in our 2020 version of Experts and Residents with a few changes that we've had to make along the way. So if we do have any technical glitches, please bear with us along the way. We've got a 2-hour program ahead of us. So thank you very much for all of our presenters who are coming on as well. And we've also got a suite of experts coming up to hopefully give you some insights and innovations that you can take going forward within your business. I'm Ben Fee. I'm the Chief Executive of Regional Development Australia, Murray, Lansdowne and Riverland. And I'm being well supported in the background by 2 of my far more capable staff, being Catherine Hughes and Sandy Isofelis, making sure that this all runs smoothly. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are present today. We have a proud history in Australia of innovating and no better than our Indigenous elders, who have shown the way in a very variable landscape how to best innovate across our world. Now, we have also been doing some innovations within our program. So our program started in 2017. You can see there that we only had a few days and we only had 50-odd participants, but it was a great start. And what we did was innovated and we moved forward from that 2017 first opportunity to bring some experts together. And then worked with PIRSA at that stage, who's been with us and are still with us throughout the journey. In 2018, then got supported by Department of Industry and Skills. So we obviously expanded a bit there. We went to a whole month and we got a fair few more participants, which was fantastic. In 2020, we've had a few issues around challenges with pandemics. So what we've done is we've gone online and already we're looking like we're touching on the kind of numbers that we had for the entire program in 2017. So this year our focus is on responsible consumption and production. In terms of what we're looking to do, we have got an adaptive approach this year is probably the best way to put it. So it fits right with the topic that we're working to. We're working with webinars because we just need to get going with this and we want to make sure that you're getting the expert advice at a time of need. And then also we're taking online appointments and digital workshops as we go forward. If there is an opportunity for us to get together toward the end of the year, we'll certainly be doing that. But we're very mindful at the moment that we need to work within the restrictions that we currently have. So in terms of going forward, we have got 3 key presenters today. We have got roughly about an hour session all up that we'll be working in toward. We have around 10 minutes worth of questions for our first key presenters, and then we'll have a 5-minute break. So it's time for you to stretch your legs, head off at that point, but come back. Because when you come back, you'll actually get to meet the experts who we will have in a live Q&A panel set up where will be a bunch of questions that come through. We'll have about 20-odd minutes worth of open question time there as well. So in terms of housekeeping, we're looking at the screen there. You can see that down the bottom, we've got the Q&A. We ask that everyone uses the Q&A for any questions you might well have. We obviously have the chat box as well, which is available for some chats, but we'll be referring to the Q&A box in terms of asking any questions of our presenters and then our experts. So please go to the Q&A box if you have a question. We recognise privacy, so we won't be naming questioners. We will just be asking questions. Importantly, this session is being recorded, so please be aware of this. If you do not wish to be recorded, then you won't be recognised. We'll keep you in the background. So it's only if you're coming forward being a presenter or the like that you'll get recognised. There'll be a limited time in terms of our questions, so we won't be able to answer all of them, but we'll take them away and we'll endeavour to answer them out of session. When you go to exit the webinar today, there'll be a survey at the end, and that survey is only about 4 questions. It tells us a little bit about how you thought the webinar went, and it also then has a question about what you want to look for going forward. So without further ado, we've got wonderful Steven Lapidge, Dr. Steven Lapidge, who's the inaugural Chief Executive Officer of the Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre. We worked for a little while back in Perth, Steven, so also as a partner to the Fight Food Waste CRC. We're really keen to hear what you have to say based on 20-odd years of working in this space with a strong focus on new product development and commercialisation. So I'll hand it over to you, Steven. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you for the opportunity. Just bear with us for a sec while we try and get the technology gods to work. Hopefully you can now see my slide. So, excellent, thank you. Yeah, thanks once again for the opportunity. So I'm in Adelaide. It'd be nice to be up there with you today, but hopefully shortly when we can all travel again a bit more. I'll be talking about the issue of food waste today, but where I normally spend a lot of my talks talking about how big the problem is, then today I'm really going to cut to the chase and say what we can do about it. So I work for a cooperative research centre. It's been going for 2 years now. It's got 8 years to go. Just to give you some quick stats, it's about $120 million worth of investment, and we have 60 participants around Australia and a couple overseas. And we're really at the start of our journey to try and help deliver the Sustainable Development Goal 12.3, a 50% food waste reduction. That's along with our partners and also the federal government. The one thing that we all have to recognise is that our food system, while we keep talking about preventing food waste and doing something with it, our food system is still overwhelmingly linear. And what that means is that nearly everything we produce goes one way, and very little of it, particularly the valuable nutrients, gets looped back in to our agri-production systems. Now, having been to the launch of the discussion for the South Australian Food Strategy this morning, there you'll see the document has a very strong focus on the circular economy, and that's exactly where we need to get to with our food production systems. We've been doing it for quite some time in terms of recycling, and we need to take that extra step and do it in our food production systems. The way we can combat food waste and turn it into something of value is to recycle it as much as possible. And that's through the circular economy. Here you can see a diagram around what that actually involves. But it basically means making sure that all nutrients are retained in the food production system for as long as possible. So if we don't eat them, let's feed them to animals, let's get them back into the soil so they can be taken up by the next crop. Now, to give you some idea of the opportunity, Australia currently, at best estimates, loses or wastes 7.3 million tonnes of food per year. To give you some idea, that would fill the MCG to the brim about 9 times, or it would fill semi-trailers stretched from Perth to Sydney. So it's a huge amount of food. What you can see from this graph from the National Food Waste Roadmap is a couple of things. One, there's about 2.3 million tonnes of food waste, lost food that doesn't leave the farm, that's ploughed back into paddocks. And so that's certainly still an opportunity. And there's still a huge amount of food waste once it leaves the farm that goes into landfill. For household food waste, that's about 93% still goes into landfill. So again, there's a huge opportunity there to tap into those nutrients and bring them back into our food production systems. As I said, the CRC has been going 2 years now. This is our strategy on a page, and it just gives you some idea around the targets that we're hoping to achieve. So by 2028, which is the end of our term, 10-year term, we hope to have achieved 30 million tonne reduction in food waste. And to give you some idea, that's about 25% of food waste in Australia over that period, where of course the target is 50%. So we hope to achieve about half of that, and hopefully the National Food Waste Strategy will achieve the rest. We're also looking at a major increase in industry profitability through utilising food waste, increasing rescued meals for the hungry, increasing circular economy jobs, and graduating what will hopefully be the future leaders of this field through our postgraduate education program. At the moment, we've got 34 projects underway within the CRC that have been established over the first 2 years, and now we're moving into a new phase of trying to get together some really large-scale, absolute game-changing projects, and we're looking for new participants for that. Now, you'll see this diagram a couple of times today. I think it's in at least 2 or 3 of the talks, and that is the food recovery hierarchy. To give you a really clear idea of what the CRC is trying to achieve, it is to maximise the environmental, economic and social returns from food waste. I think we're all trying to push food waste up that hierarchy, so as little as possible enters into the undesirable locations of landfill or incineration. Really, there's 5 ways of creating value from food waste. There's the prevention and the redistribution, and we spend a lot of time on prevention. That's called our Reduce program within the CRC, and that's trying to prevent food waste where it occurs in our supply chains. Redistribution is particularly focused on the food rescue sector. There's about, I think, 60,000 tonnes of food rescued each year in Australia, and certainly that's not enough. There's still 5 million people that are food insecure in this country, and it's still something we've got a long way to go on. In terms of other areas that we focus on, it's making new food products, it's inputs for agriculture, and it's new materials and bioenergy, all utilising food waste. To achieve this, we use a range of different products and feedstocks, and you can see the feedstocks at the top here in terms around different food waste streams and industry organic waste streams. And we put it through generally 1 of 4 processes, whether it be mechanical, chemical, thermal, or biological. And we've got projects in each of these areas. And you can see the range of products that we're looking to achieve. And as I said, we've got 34 projects already working in this space. Everything from high-grade nutraceuticals to bioenergy, composting, looking at bioplastics down the track, and a whole range of different projects.
Banana Feeds Australia is a new business that's been created to manufacture a product called Be Complete. Be Complete is a whole dried green banana product, which is particularly good for the gut health of horses. When we started looking at the real attributes of the green banana, we did ask ourselves, why couldn't we do this with the equine? The antioxidants, the polyphenols, the flavonoids, the dopamine, the serotonin, which all naturally occur in the dry green banana, were going to be beneficial for horses. We set about trying to create a factory where we could process and deliver a product that is really innovative and new to the market, and most importantly, 100% natural. Undertaken a lot of research with the University of Adelaide through a grant that we received from the CRC Fight Food Waste program. Certainly when we delved a little bit deeper with the laboratory analysis, we found that the green bananas had some wonderful attributes that just certainly weren't out there in a natural format in any other products that we could see. The calming agents of the dopamine and the serotonin certainly assist the animal becoming far more relaxed.
So that was a snippet from a much longer video, but hopefully it gives you some idea about the kind of projects that the CRC is involved with. That particular project is funded by our SME Solutions Centre, where we will get a bit of information around a waste stream that someone would like to utilise, in this case the marked and the bendy green bananas, and we will put it out to our research community, which is 10 different providers, to come up with solutions, and most of those projects do go on to create new products or even companies. But of course, we can talk about some of the new projects, but I also want to acknowledge some of the work that's been going on in the circular economy for a very long time. And there's one company that I'm sure is familiar to many of the listeners, and that's Tarak Technology. Tarak have been working in the circular economy for 9 decades, and they're an absolute market leader in this space. They develop a range of products from grape marc, which is the leftover skins and seeds after winemaking, as well as other waste streams from the wine industry. So for anyone saying that this is new and it's not tested as a business model yet, I think there's plenty of examples out there of what can really work and that you can have longevity in the circular economy. Another example that would be familiar to many listeners here today is Peat Soils and Garden Supply, which is one of our core participants. Peat's been going for 45 years. Started off in compost and mulch, but now they're doing some really innovative things around bioenergy from anaerobic digestion and biodiesel, which helps powers Peat Soils trucks that I'm sure many people see on the roads. Another project relating to banana waste that some of you may have heard about is a company called Natural Evolution. They're just inland from Cairns. They've been going about 10 years now, and they were initially banana farmers and sick of throwing away out of spec product, and also got hit by a couple of cyclones. And so they developed a range of products from their waste bananas, and they now buy in waste bananas from all the neighbouring farmers and have a whole range of products around prebiotics, so getting into that nutraceutical space, gluten-free flours, cake mixes, and now just recently they've even ventured into spirits, and they're producing a vodka from sweet potato. Just a couple of other examples that are pretty close to home here. I'm sure some of you have heard of Two Dogs Lemonade. It started in, I think, 1993. This product really started because Duncan Mulgivery was talking to a colleague who said, gee, who was a lemon grower in the Riverland, said, I've got a lot of these out of spec lemons, too big, too small, don't know what to do with. And Duncan, being the visionary that he was, decided to make a product out of them and brew them up into Two Dogs Lemonade. And why this isn't on the shelves now, at its peak, it was selling $150 million worth of product a year. It was bought out by Pernod Ricard and then later Kirin, two of the biggest beverage companies in the world. And it just goes to show, with a little bit of innovation, you can have something that can really make waves in a new field, which certainly this product did. And this product is in one way living on in that I believe there's a couple of other producers in the Riverland now also doing an alcoholic lemonade, which is selling quite well. Another product just over the border is from Mildura. Botanical Innovation is a company that has created an ultra premium water product, which is the water that is extracted from juicing carrots, which is the out of spec carrots, and turned it into a great new product. Received many innovation awards over the years, and it's all from the water, the pure water that was once probably sent out to irrigation or down a drain. So again, bit of innovation, bit of thinking out of the box here, and creating great new products. Just to finish with, some of you may be familiar with a project we ran with the RDA a couple of years ago now. It was funded by the SARMS program, and that had a range of recommendations from the project, and this is the slide that really captured them. Just for your interest, 4 of these 6 projects are now well underway within the Fight Food Waste CRC. Another one here around recovery of bio-based chemicals isn't really a food waste issue, so that's not one that we can deal with. But we're always looking for new projects and new industry partners to come into the CRC to take these ideas through to commercialisation. If you are interested in this area and looking at some of the business cases around fighting food waste using the circular economy, I highly recommend you jump on and grab this report or email me and I can send you a copy. It's got a number of the case studies I've touched on. You'll hear from YUME next, and they're a case study in this report. And there's a couple of new ones in there, such as Woolworths and Mackay Sugar as well. So hopefully that's just given you a brief overview of the work we do within the Fight Food Waste CRC, always looking for new industry participants. We certainly have additional leverage, so we fund projects dollar for dollar. So if you are interested, please write down my email address or my mobile phone number, and happy to receive a call or an email from you. As I said, we've got a leading group of research institutions that can help industry really solve their food waste problems. Ben, on that note, I will leave it. Thank you.
That's great, Steve. Thank you very much for that. And in the background, we did a little bit of adaptation as well, making sure that we could get that video going again for people. Really good opportunities there from Steve. Really great to see that we've got some game changer type opportunities coming up as a partner to the Fight Food Waste CRC. It's very exciting. So now we've got Ros Aikman from YUME, and Ros has paved her career through a suite of large multinationals, BHP, Shell, Deloitte, and is now from 2017 within YUME. So Ros, I'm going to hand across to you and you can inform us around some emerging supply chains. Over to you, mate.
All right, thank you very much, Ben, for that introduction, and for Catherine and Sandy as well. It's an honour to be here today. And a good segue really from Steve's presentation just now, who sort of set the scene on food waste and alluded to a number of different opportunities in the market. So YUME, we're a Melbourne-based startup, and we exist to tackle commercial food waste. So Steve has shown us, I guess, the different sectors where food waste occurs. We focus on those first three sections, so primary production, manufacturing, and wholesale, which comprises about 55% of food waste. Steve spoke about the MCGs and the trains. How we like to talk about the size of the problem and how staggering it is 561 semi-trailer loads full of food goes to waste every day in Australia. And this waste costs the Australian economy $6 billion in the commercial sector. So huge opportunities here, aside from preventing the environmental damage. YUME was founded by Katie Barfield. So she was the founding CEO of Second Bite. So she's been working in the social environmental, social enterprise space for a long time. She wanted to find a scalable solution to food waste, and she created YUME. YUME, the solution, is an online marketplace, 100% dedicated to surplus food. So we support suppliers on the left-hand side of our online marketplace, and they're multinational manufacturers, primary producers, importers, retailers, can be anybody with surplus food. And they're able to list on the YUME platform free of charge, where they're then instantly connected to thousands of buyers on the other side. So our buyers can be industrial caterers, wholesalers, manufacturers, hospitals, stadiums, less so these days in COVID, hotels, restaurants, pub groups. The model here, using technology to scale and to leverage and make these connections, means that we're not putting any extra trucks on the road. We're using the technology to make those connections. It's a win-win-win in terms of a product that's sold on the YUME platform avoids being wasted or gone to landfill, and it also improves the bottom line of both our suppliers and our buyers. In terms of who we work with, we have 500 suppliers. We don't discriminate. They range from big multinational conglomerates like Unilever, Mondelez, Kellogg's. We work with a number of the large integrated primary producers, the Hewans, the Baedas, a number of people in meat and seafood, dairy, and then we work with smaller independent manufacturers, exporters, wholesalers, farmers. On the buy side, we work with a number of large industrial caterers. We supply into a number of government facilities, stadiums, hospitals, mine sites, right down to yesterday we sold cashews to my local vegan ice creamery in Fitzroy. So again, there's a huge range of buyers and suppliers. And for us, it's about working with our buyers to be able to create these opportunities and these new supply chains. So it could be buyers who are opportunistically purchasing surplus. It could be buyers who are incorporating surplus into their menus, or people who are just, I guess, wanting to do the right thing, wanting to reduce food waste, wanting to reduce their costs. I think the best way to talk about YUME is to show you a video. We were lucky enough to have Craig Rucastle and the team at ABC War on Waste follow Katie, our founder, on one of our large consignments a couple of years ago. So let's hope this video works.
Each year, 2.2 million tonnes of food that is made for human consumption is wasted in Australia from commercial food businesses and manufacturers. It's the dark side of food production that we consumers never see. Before this food even hits the supermarket shelves or restaurant kitchens, it's rejected because it doesn't meet specifications. And all this food is then sent to landfill, never to be seen again. This morning I'm meeting food waste warrior Katie Barfield, who's determined to rescue this food, save it from landfill and find it a new home. YUME's role is to capture that food and redirect it to a company who needs it. Katie wants to show me one of her current consignments from the big name brand Philadelphia, and it's a whopping 15 tonnes.
Wow, that's 15 tonnes.
This all is 15 tonnes.
All of this?
Right there, yep.
And this was destined for landfill?
If we hadn't found a different way to move this product that's not fit for this retail market.
Yeah, wow. And why is it not going there? What's wrong with this product?
It's made for export and it didn't meet the export labelling requirements.
Just
and
the labels?
Just the label.
I can't believe it, just the wrong label and it's going to, all of this. Like if you hadn't linked up YUME, this 15 tonnes of edible cream cheese would have just gone to landfill.
Correct.
Unbelievable. What is the cost for a company of food waste?
In 2017, we had 1,200 tonnes of waste go to landfill. That's a cost of about $400,000 to our business.
Really?
That's significant. Working with YUME has given us a new channel to redirect products that we're just not in the market to retail.
Better than landfill?
Much better than landfill.
Better than landfill.
The cream cheese Katie has saved from landfill today will go to a local family-owned dip manufacturer, Diane's Dips.
Well, when it worries me to look at the food waste that comes out of my fridge, this is nothing next to seeing 15 tonnes of cheese. I mean, this is just food waste on another level entirely. And what shocks me even more is that the normal approach is to go, we will pay somebody to bury this in landfill. I mean, shouldn't there be rules to say edible food shouldn't be able to be thrown away like this? Because in the end, it's not just that food, it's all the water, the resources, the time that's gone into making it, and then you're going to throw it away and turn it into greenhouse gases. I mean, surely there has to be a better way.
All right, the food waste hierarchy again. So you saw a version of this with Steve. I think the beauty of the YUME solution is that it is a commercial solution that sits at the top of the food waste hierarchy. You just heard from Craig in terms of all of the resources, the energy, the water, the fertiliser, all the product and labour that goes into making food. The beauty of YUME is that we're redistributing that food for commercial or selling that food, but we're also making sure that we're optimising that resource use. So we're trying to replace that product and make sure that edible food is eaten before it drops down to sort of stock feed, energy, those sort of less ideal outcomes. So to talk through some of our scenarios and some of our success stories, what is surplus? I think in the 3 years I've been working at YUME, literally anything can be surplus. You know, I've been fortunate enough to take home some Roquefort cheese from France, fine wines, lobster tails, haven't taken those home. But in terms of what is surplus, anything can be surplus. So we deal a lot with salmon, salmon for a number of reasons. It might be pale. It could be the offcuts. So where typically you're purchasing the centre fillet, all of the bits on the end get chopped off and you know, maybe smoked, but then it doesn't have a home for all of that smoked product. We deal with salmon when it misses its delivery window at some of the major retailers. So we've got a number of different places where we might place salmon. So we would, dip manufacturers were mentioned in the video. We've also this week sent some salmon off to an aged care facility. A whole number of reasons or connections we make for that salmon. Ice creams is another regular product. So we get a lot of product that's branded retail goods. So ice creams that may be the less popular flavour or they could be close to use by date. We've sold ice creams through to Monash Hospital where they've been used at Christmas parties. One of our most distressing but also one of our proudest moments was tuna. So a couple of years ago we helped a Tasmanian farmer who had produced 550,000 individual 50-gram sachets of tuna, and he prepared them in these plastic sachets that were unlabelled, and the intent was that they would go into a ready-made salad pack with the ingredients listed on the salad pack. That product was discontinued. which left the farmer or the supplier with 27 tonnes of this product. So we had to dig really deep. We went out to our advocates online and we managed to sell every one of those sachets. So we sent them through to buying groups. We found retailers, Harris Farms in New South Wales, who would bundle them up and sold them as a story. We deal a lot with large consignments of potentially off-spec product from major manufacturers. So we've got a picture there of cocoa, 1 tonne blocks of cocoa butter. We've had 220 litre drums of maple syrup. And these products were imported or purchased by the multinationals for new products, which may have been discontinued or not past their product development, or cocoa butter that was slightly off spec. And we find homes for these in a number of times for independent manufacturers. So independent manufacturers who are quite agile, they're able to go make changes to their procurement processes and take advantage of these opportunistic parcels. And peat, the peaches here. Another area where we've done a lot of, and Steve was speaking about the lemon brew, we're doing quite a bit with brewers as well. So brewers have the capacity, they're always releasing new products. We've sold peach paste out of a cannery or frozen berries to a number of different breweries, both small craft breweries and large breweries like Lion to use that product. Until now, we've kind of dealt a lot with meat, seafood, dairy, and retail product. But what we're really keen to work on is that sort of first part of the supply chain and really get into that fruit and vegetables, which have a shorter shelf life. So we recognise that we need to do something a little bit different here. And that's through the Fight Food Waste. We were connected with Sandy and Ben at RDA and Marylands and Riverland and Marylands. And we're hoping to sort of bring our model and pilot what we're calling Project Forager in your region. So we're really looking forward to working with the farmers in your region to sort of understand that surplus ahead of harvest, finding buyers for that product, and then making sure that we can then, when harvest comes around, you're able to pick with confidence because we've created new supply chains. So stay tuned for more information on that. In terms of just summing up our story so far, so in the 4 years we've been operating, we've managed to divert almost 2,000 tonnes of food from going to waste. We've returned $6 million to Aussie farmers and businesses. The embodied water we estimate at near 120 million litres and almost 4,000 tonnes of CO2. We've been fortunate to be recognised with a number of awards and to have also taken part in a number of the national and state-based food waste initiatives. That's it from me. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And if anybody has any surplus or has any solutions, we are more than available to chat. And I hope to work with many of you when we start looking at fruit and vegetables in your region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ros. I think we need to come over to Fitzroy to try some of that. Was it cashew ice cream? That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And really appreciate, I assume you're hooking in from Melbourne in Victoria, so really appreciate that. And the fact that we're able to do this, there's a very good example of why we're doing this online. So now, going from the food waste side of things through to the packaging side of things, we've got a couple of absolute stalwarts of the packaging industry. We've got the Ralph Moyle and Keith Chessell from the Australian Institute of Packaging. So there are many, many years of experience for each of you. And so we get the added bonus of having the double experience, which is, dare I say, I think it's about 90 years in total between the two of you. So really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Over to Ralph, I believe, first.
Thank you, Ben. I'd just like to say I'm the junior of the team, and I just want to stick with that. Catherine, could you go to the first slide, please? And ladies and gentlemen, that's sort of a broad scope of what the AIP does. The AIP is a not-for-profit organisation. We've been in operation for 55 years. and we are the only professional body in Australia designed to educate, train and develop packaging technologists. And our members are individuals. We don't have any company memberships. Thank you for that segue from both previous speakers. And I think the key topic I'd like to start with is, why is packaging important in this whole topic? In fact, many people have suggested they don't want it. So what would that look like if we didn't have any packaging? Catherine, would you be so kind to go to the next slide and commence the video? Key message there I'm just trying to display, with a little bit of humour thrown in, I guess, is that packaging does perform many really important functions in protecting food and minimising food waste. So I'll talk now onto the 2025 national packaging targets, and Keith will follow on shortly on the food waste aspects from a packaging point of view. In 2018, the Australian government, through the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation, issued a directive to all industries to move forwards towards sustainable packaging and to deliver a new sustainable packaging pathway in Australia. There were 4 key columns there, as you can see on your screen now, and those targets are, as you can see, 100% of packaging to be reusable, recyclable or compostable, and that's quite a substantial target. 70% of plastic packaging to be recycled or composted. Now that target is significant and difficult and a long way off. The next one, 50% of average. So across all of your packaging formats, the outer boxes, the inner packaging, whole lot, 50% to be recycled across the lot. And the last but not least, but perhaps one of the more contentious political ones on a state-by-state basis around this country, is to phase out problematic and unnecessary single-use plastic packaging. Now, the AIP is to assist you with, excuse me, with assisting your business moving through each of these 4 targets. Catherine, if you would. We're all into negative pyramids today and hierarchy, so it's a common theme of the day, and none of us really work this out together. But in the case of packaging or waste, the same principles apply. You really got to be doing the easy stuff first. That's where the money is, folks. And the further you get down the pyramid, the less value and the more it's going to cost you. So there's not just a packaging side of this. There's not just a food waste side of this. There's a true business aspect behind both of it, which you really do need to consider and work with. Catherine, if you would. So where does all this the waste occur from a packaging point of view here? This isn't on food waste, but as you can see, as you go through that waterfall, ladies and gentlemen, there's a good 12% to be saved just in choosing the right design, and to a certain extent, 32%, which is not recyclable, actually relates back to the first section in actually choosing the most appropriate materials for the right product going through the right supply chain. The last part, another further 18% is lost in the recovery process. And trust me, that also goes back to design and the fact that it might be too flat, too big, too small, or too something in the sense that it doesn't work with the recycling or sorting facilities throughout the country. There's a good deal of work to be done in all of this, but none of it's insurmountable. It's a matter of just choosing the right right materials and understanding your production, handling and supply chain questions. But that's what the AIP is here to help you with. The next one, if you would, Catherine. So here are what we call the sustainable packaging guidelines, and there's key strategies as how we work through this together. But the first and foremost is always reduce the packaging through design and innovation. And that can actually be not only good for your business in its sustainable profile that it projects to its customers and consumers, but there's generally also a good deal of money to be made in making better, lighter choices here. Phase out of problematics, that can be contentious because a lot of them lead to convenience with consumers, but there are ways through it. Designing material for recycling is actually not that difficult once you get right into it and you understand the choices that you can make. Design for compostability, it's a challenge, this one. Many folk want it desperately, claiming that is the panacea to all of this. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's highly unlikely because there really aren't any facilities rather for compostable packaging in this country, as distinct from compostable food items. Two very different topics, two very different processes to conduct through. So that last one is quite contentious. If you would, Catherine, to the next. This is really a key statement, and I'll let you guys read through it, and I'll talk over you as you're reading through it, but the key paragraph for me is in fact the middle one, which you've really got to get your heads around. It's packaging that performs this primary function, but also has lower environmental impact compared to its existing or conventional. That's really sustainable packaging in its most basic forms. Catherine, next one. APCO is an organisation, the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation, which we do recommend all people to join. Helps the global approach around this country, and it has a great deal of resources available to it. This is one of their publications on sustainable packaging guidelines, which we would take you through. Next one, Catherine. There's 10 principles, ladies and gentlemen, of how we would assist your business working through this to ensure that you've got an appropriate sustainable packaging footprint for your business. And if you are dealing with the majors, retailers, the Coles, the Woolworths, the Aldis and other big corporates, this is what they're really asking of you these days. So to assist you in enhancing your market, this is a good program for you to work with. Next one, please, Catherine. That's enough for me, ladies and gentlemen. Being the junior of the team, I'll step aside and let Keith Chessell take over for the rest of our allotted time. Looking forward to see you in the Q&A session.
Thank you, Ralph, and well done. As the senior member, I'll try and carry on from there. What Ralph has shown for you there sets out very well on the balance that packaging designers have to organise themselves to be able to do, to be able to bring all the various aspects together in their packaging design. But one of the interesting challenges that I want to share with you briefly is what Steve and Rosalind have been sharing for this afternoon about the National Food Waste Strategy of halving Australia's food waste by 2025. Ralph has just shown you there the sustainable packaging guidelines. Well, embedded in those 10 sustainable principles is the design to reduce product waste. And so that's a key task at the AIP, and I want to just briefly share with you and how I believe we can work with you to improve your packaging and improve your performance to reduce food waste. But before I started, you've seen a bit on food waste today, but I really needed to show you this video. So, Catherine, if you could run the video for us. needed to show that one. Being a Melbourneite, it's really good to see someone dumping something else on other than Melbourne. So I thought it was a good one, really, to highlight the difficulties that food waste, $20 billion worth of food being wasted each year. And it's Ronnie Kahn from Oz Harvest, and you've had YUME here today, and which has been great to see how food is not being wasted and being really used as a feeding important areas. But Ronnie Kahn, the CEO of Oz Harvest, shows this picture of her sitting there with 298 kilos of food sitting around her, and that's the average food waste that each person wastes each year, 298 kilos. And so Ronnie sets out the challenge there that starts at your plate. So I want to personalise it a little bit for you today, that if you can save that by making small changes in the way you waste your own food, your personal habits and how you order your food, can all make an important part to reducing food waste. Steve showed you this slide before, but I want to personalise it again. 34% of households contribute to the food waste, but if you're a primary producer, 31%, and a manufacturer, 24%. So between us as households, manufacturers and primary producers, we're creating the major 7.3 million tonnes of food waste each year, or that 298 grams. So we all have a part to play. So the Australian Institute of Packaging's role as part of starting off with the Fight Food Waste CRC, we have a project that's aimed at setting up a design criteria for packaging to reduce food waste. We've got a number of partners that have joined us in this project, and we're really keen to help companies design their packaging, find ways of being able to improve their packaging that their consumers don't waste that food, or it doesn't get wasted in the supply chain. You've seen the waste chart. I wanted to really highlight in the waste chart where the role of packaging fits. So we stop the food getting to YUME and to Oz Harvest and Food Bank, because if we design our packaging right, it doesn't get wasted, although there are certainly lots of other ways that food goes. But so the task that we have as the AIP, and we want to help you as an industry and companies to be able to design your food waste in the right, your packaging in the right way to reduce food waste. Consumers get really concerned about when they see food product packaged, and so it's a real conundrum for the consumer. But one of the key tasks we need to help them do when we do package our product is to explain why we need more packaging. It's because often we need to apply more packaging to reduce that food waste. So it's an important communication task that we have to be able to make sure when we package our product to extend the shelf life, like the simple cucumber, it extends the shelf life of the cucumber. When we package it, we tell them why we're packaging it. That's a really big task for us as producers of product. The definition on the screen there of the Save Foods packaging is designed to minimise or prevent food waste from paddock to plate using an innovative and intuitive design features. And as Ralph highlighted in the sustainable packaging design, these features will contain, protect, preserve and extend the shelf life, providing consumers convenience with easy open, reseal, portion control, all the while meeting the global sustainable targets. This is the balance that we need to have in our sustainable packaging design and our Save Food Waste design. The AIP run each year a Save Foods Packaging Design Award. I've been judging on this, and you'll see on the screen there are a number of products that are set up that have won our awards over recent years. We'd love to help you design your packaging to be able to be a Peter Award winner, and to have a look and join us as we'll share some of the secrets that these companies have had. So that's all I need to say, but we'd really love to be able to work with you to improve your packaging and reduce your food waste. Thank you.
That's great, Keith. Thank you very much to Keith and Ralph, and I'll let you guys work out who's the senior, who's the junior. We'll leave that up to you. That's not a question, by the way, that we've been asked. So that was probably the clearest demonstration of the value of food packaging I think I've ever seen. I've never really thought about a trolley as a ham hanger, and I don't really ever want to think about it as that again. And I do appreciate as well, Keith, that in terms of the VIX, you're actually sticking up for a VIC. We need to do that right now. So we do have some questions, some really good points being put across there in terms of the magnitude of the problem that we're facing, some of the really big, I guess, groundbreaking, game-changer type opportunities that we see in front of us, and then some practical ways that we're dealing with that food loss now by shifting our supply chains, and then by using the packaging, actually creating opportunities for longevity, and also thinking about the packaging itself and how we're reducing the impacts of that packaging. So really good suite leading us into a couple of questions. So we do have a few questions. As I said earlier, we might not be able to get through them all, and we've just reduced our break time as well, I'd like to say, so that we can fit these questions in. We'll just have a quick 3-minute break, which might just give you enough time to do what you need to do in a tick. But before then, a question for Ros, first of all. The question here is, what criteria do your 500 suppliers need to demonstrate to enable you to advertise their surplus goods to your suppliers?
Sure, I can answer that now. Our requirements to list our product is really just the food safety certificates. So different buyers might have different levels of requirements, i.e. they might need HACCP or they might not, but it's really just the standard consumer requirements. So, sorry, I'll just put that video on, Catherine. So really it's just making sure that the food and safety certificates are there. We also do a test on price. So because our platform is 100% dedicated to surplus, we do make sure that the supplier is pricing it as such. So suppliers do choose the price, but we do check it against the market and make sure that it is being priced appropriately as surplus. So we recommend a 30% off the regular price.
Great, that's a great clear benchmark. Obviously that'll vary from situation to situation a bit, but that's a benchmark you go by. Great, excellent. So just moving along, this is a broader question for all the panellists. What do the panellists think are the opportunities for producers in the region to demonstrate sustainable food production to enhance and maintain social licence? So happy to do some interpretation unless I see a hand going up. Stephen's gone off of mute. That's you, Stephen.
Okay, can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah, gotcha, mate.
Okay. Yeah, look, we did this project that I mentioned in my talk a couple of years ago, and there was a whole bunch of survey responses around what are the key opportunities in the area. So the project looked at the Murray Mallee as well. So because of that, potatoes were a big one. To give you some idea, the volume is about 70,000 tonnes produced potatoes that are rejected from the Mallee production region each year. There's over 100,000 tonnes rejected in South Australia alone. So potatoes is a big opportunity. Onions, carrots, citrus is a big one that we still would like to be doing more in. I think we've got some great ideas for surplus citrus that we are yet to implement, and almonds is the other one rounding out the horticulture sector. But something to think about is the wine industry. You've got these fermentation vats that sit empty for half of the year or more. You know, let's do something with them, and that's maybe fermenting up some of these fruit and vegetables into new foods and new drinks, and like the Two Dogs example, because I think that's you've got latent infrastructure there that you can really be using, and trying to match the two up is what we need to be doing.
That's great. Thank you very much, Steve. I can move on unless any of the other panelists have anything particularly pressing to say. No, we're all good. I'm not seeing any big nods. Great. So this one actually, sorry, Steve, you should have taken that one because this one's for you. So we might open up to AIP as well, given that we would like to hear from you. But your views on what else is needed in the equation to reduce the food waste in households. What else could be done to get the message through? And what kind of radical approaches are you aware of? And I will, Steve, if you could just keep this one brief, because I think Keith did put his hand up there. So it was directed to you, Steve, and then we'll go to Keith.
Yeah, just quickly, look, what we're not doing at the moment is a national behaviour change campaign. A couple of the states are doing their own programs, not necessarily coordinated. I think we all agree, and this comes out of a project that CRC is running, we need a national approach here. At the moment, that is currently unfunded by the National Food Waste Strategy, and that's something we keep talking to ministers about.
I'm on mute. Thank you, Steve. Keith.
And Ben, so there are a number of things that we're working with our packaging companies and manufacturers to encourage them. Recipe ideas for leftovers, because a lot of the issues happen in the household where food gets left in the refrigerator, it's leftovers that don't get consumed. Large quantities of that 34% of household waste comes through just not handling the food right. And so recipe ideas of how to use leftovers from your product. We're really encouraging a lot of reseal features so it maintains the product fresher. Understanding one of the big issues that needs a lot of work and difficult is the difference between what's the best before and what's the use by date. And how many people throw food out because it passed its best before date. Now the best before date means that it's past its best at eating, but nothing gets thrown out in my household, I can assure you from that. But so understanding the use by date and the best before date is a key aspect of food waste again. So reseal features, recipe ideas, and storage instructions, storage and opening instructions. A lot of things like that can help the consumer understand that food shouldn't be wasted and can be used in better ways.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt in my household, Keith, that we've got a food hierarchy. I come just above the dogs and the chooks, so we don't waste much ourselves. Look, I am having to try and manage the time here, and Ralph, apologies we didn't get to hear from you, but we do need to keep moving on. Really appreciate those presentations. Thank you very much. We have had something in the chat box around how can we get in contact. RDA will make sure that these things are filtered through to the relevant presenters and then to the relevant experts. So I would normally say in a crowded room, can we please give a hand for all of our presenters, but thank you all very much for your time. Now, we'll be aiming to come back on, it's about 2 by my clock, and we'll make it about 2:06. We'll give you a very short break. We'll speak soon. Go and get yourself a cup of tea or whatever else you need to do. We'll see you back in a few minutes. Wonderful. Thank you, presenters. Well, welcome back, everyone. I had a chance to stretch the legs, run off and grab a cup of tea or a coffee. So now we get into the next exciting phase. This is where we get to introduce our experts that we will have available for one-on-one sessions after this webinar. So in effect, what we're going to be running here is a panel discussion. We get to, first of all, meet the experts. Through this phase of the webinar, we'll learn how those experts can help you. And you can see the experts on screen at the moment there. And so you're getting a sense, no doubt, we've already heard from Keith and Ralph, the kind of experience that they will be able to provide to yourselves within your businesses. We'll gain a few insights from the panel discussions, and then what we'll do, we'll run through a very practical how to book an appointment. If anything is confusing at all throughout this process, please, you can contact RDAMR anytime. You can go through our website and we will make sure that we help you along the way. So rather than me do the promo sort of pitches, the actual pitches in terms of who our experts are, we have an expert promo video, which I think Catherine is about to start.
Right now, we're at one of the most exciting times in human history. Technology is changing every part of our lives. Our homes, our workplaces, and our communities are changing at an unprecedented pace. Sage is leading the way in creating a better, more sustainable future for everyone. When we look at the future, we see endless opportunities. It was this sort of forward thinking that drove our founder, Andrew Downes, to start Sage 25 years ago. Now we're a large global company, and every one of us continues to ask the same question: how can we make our world a better place? At Sage, we bring together the brightest people and the best technology to create smarter, safer cities and workplaces. Our companies are creating automation solutions which are revolutionising the world of manufacturing, control systems which create life-saving isotopes for the medical industry, solutions that provide energy and clean water for millions of people across the country, enable iconic Australian products to be shared globally, transport systems that get you home safely now and in the future, technology which helps the brave men and women of our armed forces protect our way of life, and help our country to capitalise on our natural resources which are used all over the world. Our group of companies work tirelessly behind the scenes.
Hi, my name's Angela Grogan. I'm from Best Business Results. I've been asked to be one of the experts in residence through the RDA's Murrayland and Riverland program, which I'm quite excited about. I'm a director at Best Business Results. We provide support to our small to medium business clients in the areas of people, profit and growth, which pretty much covers most aspects of a business, from getting the right people on the team and developing them, getting the waste out of your business processes and making your business as efficient as it can be and making the most profit as it can be, and then getting the right growth for your business, which then hopefully will be profitable growth. We do all sorts of things, from strategic planning, leadership development, profit improvement, business coaching, all sorts of different things to help our clients achieve their goals. And I suppose the first place to start is to really work out what the vision for the business is and where the owners want to get it to and in what period of time. Now, I know COVID has come along and caused some challenges, as have the bushfires earlier this year and late last year. So I've been working with a lot of my clients around the scenario planning to survive through these difficult times, to pivot and adapt out of them and hopefully thrive on the other side. So if you'd like to have a chat about your business, any opportunities that you've got in front of you or any issues that you'd like to chat through, then please get in touch. Do that through the RDA, and I'd be happy to help you in any way I can. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Belinda. My company is Food Labelling and Safety. I cover two main topics in the experts meetings: food labelling and food safety. From a food labelling perspective, are you looking to retail or wholesale products? If so, what are your requirements for your labelling? And where do you get the information? How do you calculate the information? And how do you know that it's correct? We can talk through that. We can look at current labelling and just check for compliance, and look at any updates that may be required to that. From a food safety point of view, if you are going to wholesale or retail some products, you need to have a food safety plan in place. We can start with a simple food safety system that is compliant with your council and the Food Standards Code, and work up towards global compliance, which will enable you to sell products all over the world. I can outline what's involved in these systems, your commitments, costs, and anything else you might need to know regarding documentation, where to find information, and anything else helpful with regards to food safety. If you are thinking about starting to wholesale or retail and just want an overview of the whole aspect of what's involved from a food labelling and a food safety point of view, we can do that as well. Just an outline of what's involved in the entire process. Thank you very much.
My name's Keith Chessell and I'm part of the Australian Institute of Packaging's education team. And I'm also part of the AIP's team working closely with the Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre program. With my extensive years in sustainable packaging design, I represent the AIP on the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation Board. APCO partners with government and industry to guide the activities for achieving the 2025 national packaging targets. I also serve as an industry expert on APCO's Technical Advisory Committee and Standards Australia's Environmental Labelling Committee. My industry background has involved 50 plus years in fast-moving consumer goods sector, covering food, beverage and confectionery product and packaging development. Over the past 13 years, my focus has been on sustainability, not only for Cadbury Craft in the Asia Pacific region, but in the last 8 years through my sustainable packaging consultancy and the AIP education team. In both these roles, I've been able to assist a range of companies to guide their understanding of sustainable packaging design.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Education Coordinator for the Australian Institute of Packaging, and my name is Ralph Moyle. In 2018, the Australian Government, through the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation, issued a directive to industry to move towards more sustainable packaging and to deliver a new sustainable pathway for packaging in Australia. This is called the 2025 National Packaging Targets. Many companies have found it beneficial to develop a total business sustainability plan around these targets and timeline. This includes services to their business and full engagement with their staff. Many businesses are now using their successes through this program to tell their consumers and customers about their progressive business. We are here to encourage you to follow their lead and implement the 2025 National Packaging Targets into your business. Thank you.
Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Randall. We are two of the directors of Tangram Collective. Creating a brand and developing marketing collateral that communicates effectively to our audience can be challenging. As experts and residents, we hope to help you navigate these challenges. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Solutions need to be carefully considered and tailored to the requirements of the brief. The brand and marketing landscape is now quite diverse and covers such things as traditional print, including packaging and point of sale and press, digital media, websites, apps, socials, e-commerce, as well as a myriad of others. This is why there are two of us as part of Experts in Residence.
My role in Tangram is to help clients with their branding, creating effective communication in the traditional marketplace. Think logos, packaging, point of sale and campaign development.
Even though I have a traditional graphic design background, my role is more tactical, helping clients navigate their way through the myriad of communication strategies available, identifying opportunities and turning them into a reality. So depending on your needs, we look forward to helping you. It could be me, or both of us. So we look forward to having a chat.
Well, I don't know if anyone else, but I was doing a little bit of a samba in the background there. That was some wonderful background music, and great to, through somewhat of a controlled medium, to be able to get introduced to our expert panel members. So their videos will be popping up really soon, and I will be asking questions broadly to the panel. So a little bit of rule making for the panel. If you do have a response, you are being taken off of mute. If you stick up your finger, then Catherine will make sure that you're off of mute. But please stick up your finger beforehand, otherwise we're going to get a free-for-all. So I'll be putting out broad questions to everyone. Finger up, and I'll point to you. So look, to kick things off, and in particular, I think it was Belinda who, I'm sorry, it was Angela who actually mentioned specifically COVID-19 and the impacts of COVID-19 right now. What we're seeing broadly as RDA is that perhaps a lot of these things were sitting there and were in the "yeah, I'll do later" type basket. But with COVID-19, we've seen an acceleration across all of the spheres that you've just been introduced as having some expertise in. So I'll just put it out to the panel. COVID-19 seems to be concentrating issues and clarifying some opportunities. What are the biggest issues, the most pressing issues that you're seeing being concentrated right now, and the biggest opportunities that you're seeing being clarified right now? Yes, Angela.
I'll take that one, Ben. I think with what I'm seeing across the whole spectrum of all the types of businesses that I work with is that, from a strengths and weaknesses perspective, things are reasonably the same. But I think a lot of businesses are seeing some of their weaknesses become even more apparent. It's the opportunities and threats that are really shifting, and they're shifting on a regular basis, almost on a weekly basis. And I have clients all over the country and internationally as well, and everybody's experiencing slightly different scenarios. So I think the challenge with that is then being able to still focus on those things that are going to give the biggest impact and not be too distracted by the bright, shiny objects that come along the way. So I think for every business and every sector, it's slightly different, but it's remaining agile and being able to do that shorter term planning is really, really, really imperative at the moment, focusing.
Absolutely. I think there is a lot to be said at the moment for having a few backup plans. You no longer have the one or the two. You actually need to be able to pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot again, as we heard too much. What we're hearing though as well are that there are some underpinning sort of concepts around, for example, with the presentations which is heard, the notions of circular economy and the rest. So before we move into some of those sort of broader underpinning strategies and how businesses might be able to enter into your spheres to get some expert advice on how to enter that space, any other comments around some of those really pressing things that are occurring right now? Keith, yes.
Ralph and I very recently worked with a number of South Australian SMEs and in helping them develop, and one of the exciting things for both Ralph and I was during this COVID issue, we thought sustainability was going to go a bit on the back burner, but we were really impressed with a number of these small companies and some bigger companies really keen to do something about their packaging and to ensure their packaging is recyclable, doing the right thing in terms of that. So that was a really exciting thing for Ralph and I, and we really enjoyed working with those companies to help them look further forward. But the other interesting thing that's certainly coming to fore, that for any of the manufacturers, you need to recognise that the supply chain at the moment is becoming very tight, and companies need, if they haven't got their orders for and sorted out the supply sources right now, they need to do that, because that's certainly things are tightening up. And for us in Melbourne, we're totally tightened up. So that's making it very difficult. But for right around Australia, we need to be planning and preparing right into 2021 in terms of material supplies.
Thank you, Keith. And your less senior, more senior, I've forgotten now. Comrade Ralph also had his hand up as well. Oh, we're on mute there, Catherine. Sorry, Ralph, just help you out. There we go.
It's okay. I'll just make a very brief point. Yes, COVID is dominating things at this time, and yes, it has influenced consumers' behaviour quite significantly. You can see by some of the empty shelves how people have reacted. That doesn't mean sustainable packaging and food waste have disappeared. This is just another topic as well as, not instead of. So to all the producers out there, look, I'm sorry guys, this is just another one on the deck that we've got to deal with. The sustainability hasn't gone away. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, and Antonio, I just see you put your hand up. I'll just add to that I think, in fact, it's only brought it more to the fore, is what we're seeing. Yeah. So there are really good opportunities in terms of businesses thinking about, really reducing those resources as well as possible and not having the same access that they might have had to the external suppliers who might well have been overseas. It's really making people rethink. So absolutely, I'll take it. Antonio, you had your hand up, mate.
Yeah, so COVID's brought about a number of opportunities for Sage Automation to help, especially manufacturing customers that have got, large critical assets, running, plants or facilities, to deploy condition-based monitoring or sort of contactless remote management of, servicing some of their, critical infrastructure and production facilities. So, the challenge of not being able to actually, fly in engineers to do commissioning or sort of, routine inspections has given a rise to, a number of technologies to, remotely manage or, oversee a break fix type procedure and not having to expose a lot of people, frontline staff, to some of those situations. So, there has been some positives out of it as well.
Definitely creating a big rethink, and the limitations, I think, really do head in the direction of that circular economy, which I'm flagging a couple of times earlier that we will get into in just a tick. Belinda, are you seeing anything in your space in terms of some of the more practical, how we're dealing with our food packaging labelling side of things?
Yes, sorry, we're good now.
No problem.
I think definitely I've got clients who, one particular group who are a group of chefs who had to close their restaurants in Adelaide and wanted to move to take-home meals and things like that. And good sustainable packaging was part of what they wanted when they set up. They didn't go straight for nasty plastic containers or whatever. They wanted something that worked for them and made them feel like they weren't contributing to waste in a great way, which I thought was very good of them. The other thing I've noticed is this whole time has sharpened up businesses. I've got clients now who are thinking about Christmas production, and usually they come in a panic to me in October and go, I need to reprint packaging for Christmas. And I've had people in July asking me about it, which is fabulous because they've had time to sit and have a bit of a think and have a look at their business. And yes, they've had to make some pivots and things like that, but it seems to have sharpened people's thinking a little bit, which is good, and made them less wasteful. They're happy to not reprint and change packaging or run out of a line rather than just throw it out. They'll actually use up packaging and things like that, which in other times when they're busier and the money's a bit more free flow, they probably would just throw it out and reprint. But they're finding ways to use what they've got and keep production going, but try to do the right thing as well, which is great.
It is very interesting, and I've said it too many times before, and you've just said it as well, that notion of pivoting. We're all having to do it. Obviously, even the fact that we're online at the moment doing this webinar is just another one of those P words. And in terms of Randall and David, I mean, you're really in the hot seat there in terms of what you're seeing with this type of pivot, the type of online, how we present ourselves type of pivot. So what are you guys seeing over there as a result of some of the current concentrated pressures? And you are currently, oh, well done. You guys know how to work online. Just unmute.
I think Dave and I both, we've both got different range of clients, but the ones that have been proactive are the ones that are going to have benefited the most. Certainly times are tough in different industries, but it's the ones that have been looking forward, adapting, which I think everybody has agreed to in this panel. I guess we come at it more from a consumer perspective. So we're trying to be in touch with what consumers want. That's how we touch base with drawing the producer through to the consumer. So, we're actively always looking at what different markets are looking for, and certainly recycled anything is popular. Getting that message across to the consumer varies from client to client, but for the most part, most clients, when we suggest a recycled attitude towards things, they embrace them. Price point does come into a place, but then we also educate them that consumers, if educated properly, are are prepared to spend that little bit extra to know that they're contributing to the global community, in different ways.
Yep. I'm finding, because I do a lot of work in the wine industry, it's been very tough, very tough. It was a poor vintage, but good quality, but a small amount. So they're trying to find ways to sell their product with hotels and stuff closing down and retail. So they're choosing not to put out a brand list, finding where the wine's going to go. But I do have clients in the pastry is going crazy because there's lots of people home and they're baking like no tomorrow. So I think it is a matter of keeping focused, keeping going, and being prepared to come out the other end. And setting the groundwork now, because you want to be there and be in people's view.
Yeah, and there's a lot of resilience that people are clearly drawing on at the moment, but it's that planning element that actually I think is really the thing that's bringing people through all of this, is what we're hearing again and again. Now, I'm being told by my team to wind up, but I don't want to get, I'm going to keep going just for one more thing, and they're going to tell me off. Because we're focusing in on the issues right now, which is around some of the COVID-19 elements. And it's not all about COVID-19, as well put by Ralph. This is something that we should be doing anyway. And that notion of circular economy is one of those big notions that people kind of might not necessarily go, I click with immediately. Maybe I'll take just two responses in that space. Not necessarily just circular economy, but all those elements that lay within, including managing food waste, including actually the way we deal with communities and bringing our communities back in instead of letting our aged go off and sit off in the old person's homes. And those notions of circularity, which we're seeing more concentrated as a result of COVID. Any of those big notions that are worth putting out there, because there are businesses right now listening who have got those big lofty ideas and the big plans. They're being hit by what's currently here. Any pathways that you might well be able to paint out to say, keep progressing, we are here, we can present some stuff for you, we can help you through, in particular with your planning. It's probably not the clearest question, but Ralph's going to have a go. Thank you, Ralph. Oh, you're on mute. Catherine, you're on mute. Oh, Ralph. Sorry, Ralph, they're sitting in the background telling me that.
That's okay. We'll go for it.
That's the problem.
I think they've done a fantastic job, Ben. This isn't easy for everybody, and that I think sums it up. Look, for circular economy through any business, I put it to you, you've paid for something to come onto your site. You want to be paid for everything that leaves your site. So if you've got items that you have to pay to get rid of it, you have a problem. And those items you need to convert into the fact that you want to be paid for it rather than you paying somebody else for it. And if you can get around that concept of your balance sheet and your costs, you're a very long way forward in understanding what a circular economy looks like. And then you can take that theme and move it through any one of your businesses.
Now, that was very, very clear. I am going to go to Angela very quickly, but we're going to have to call it on the last person being yourself, Angela.
Oh, God, no pressure.
You're going to kill me. They're coming at me, Angela. Sorry.
I just know from experience that once a business owner or a business can see the true cost, and there are lots of different costs, but often those that hit the hip pocket, you can put that dollar figure on what that waste is. Often, in good times, it may be something that makes them want to move towards a solution. If they can't see it, feel that financial impact, they're less inclined to. So, there's ways and means of being able to calculate that in lots of different areas. That might be something that gets cut through in some businesses.
So thank you, Angela, and thank you to all of our experts. Look, this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the experience, expertise we've got available to you all out there listening. There are great opportunities through our Experts in Residence program to get in touch, to get informed. So if we are just going to go and have a look at the way that we book online, and I would like our experts and everyone else to stay online, because this is really the tutorial, if you like, on how we then go ahead and book and make best use of your valuable time. And that's what this is really all about. We might have a talk fest, but what we want to do is we want to give avenues to get things on ground. And if it's only 2 or 3 businesses that shift, that's massive. And we would like to shift a lot more than those 2 or 3. So there's a new website that we've got around experts and residents. We can do one-on-one Zoom bookings with experts via this website, and you can see it there. It's www.eir.rdamr.com.au. So we've just put EIR in front of the RDA acronym there. So you can register for the program. You then get a log on, and then you can book your appointments. So I think we've got something that we're about to show which will explain it much better than I can. So I'll just hand over to that.
To access fully funded, confidential and one-on-one appointment with industry experts, you'll have to visit the Experts in Residence website. You can find this at www.eir.rdamr.com.au. You'll then land on our Experts in Residence homepage. This will provide you information all about the Experts in Residence program and our 6 key themes. Under each key theme, you'll be able to find information on experts that satisfy each key theme. For example, the AgTech, Insights and Adoption. You'll find throughout the website there are different buttons helping direct you to our booking calendar for you to make an appointment. If you want to look at all of our experts together, you can find them underneath our Expert tab. This tab is publicly available for anyone who visits the website. You can filter all of our experts by their different key themes. All of our experts will also appear as you scroll down. You are able to view more information on our experts. However, you will have to be a registered participant of the website. As you can see, to view further details, it will ask you to log into your profile. This is similar to the Book an Expert tab. You unfortunately cannot book any appointments with experts until you are registered. To register, all you have to do is hover over the registration tab and go to business registration. All businesses and individuals interested in participating in the program are required to register. This process will enable you to receive program updates and be notified when appointments become available with our experts. To register, all you have to do is fill out the below details and then click register. Once you register for the program, you will go into a pending state. Once approved, you'll be notified via email. You can then come back to the Experts in Residence webpage and click the login and log out button. This will direct you to your profile. Enter your username and password and click login. Once you are registered, you'll be able to see more in-depth information on all of our experts, including another Make an Appointment button. As I said before, these buttons will redirect you to the Book an Expert tab, which is also available up the top here. When you're on the Book an Expert webpage, you'll see a set of instructions letting you know how to book an expert. Taking Angela, for example, we can select Angela from our drop-down box up the top here. The calendar will then load all of the available appointments Angela has. By hovering over each day, you'll be able to see how many appointments are available. If we select the day that you're interested in, multiple appointments and time slots will come up. All you have to do is press the book an appointment for which one you are interested in. Fill out the request an appointment form. Once you click the request appointment button, your appointment will go into a pending state. This will be awaiting approval from the expert and the Experts in Residence team. Once your appointment has been approved, you'll receive an email notification along with a Zoom meeting link. This meeting link will be sent only to you and is personal and confidential. To be able to view all of your appointments that you have, hover back over the Login Logout tab and scroll down to your profile. On your profile, you'll be able to scroll down and see that we have no upcoming appointments. If you do have any upcoming appointments, they'll pop up just here. You are able to contact the Experts in Residence team via the Contact Us tab. We're always happy for you to get in contact with us and let us know how we can help you navigate our website better. We look forward to seeing what insights and innovations the experts can help implement into your business through one-on-one appointments.
All right, my video will come up in a sec. Hopefully that's clear enough. Now, if that's not clear, as my image was not, but now it is, unfortunately for everyone. If it's not clear, this will be up on our website. So that website again, www.eir.rdamr.com.au. So all of this will be recapped on the website. You do have the key presenters that we heard from at the start, and thank you very much to all of our key presenters. We do have the experts in residence experts who we still do have online listening at the moment. Now, this is just to make a note, this is actually the first lot of experts that we have this year. We're actually bringing in more experts in the background too. So you'll see that expertise grow. And so just look out for that. We'll have that available online. Now, watch this space too, because we are going to have another webinar series, and we're looking at September. Excuse me, reading from my notes here. The idea at the moment is that it will be delivered by the Australian Institute of Packaging to help our businesses to be ready for the 2025 National Packaging Targets. So as I said before, we want to make this as real and on ground as possible, just to make sure that businesses are hitting the targets that they need to. So that'll be around September, and once again, that information will be on the website, which you can now see on your screen. And you can email us if you are unclear on anything at all with that email, experts@rdamr.com.au, and also give us a call. We have real people here, live people back in the office. We are fortunate now that we are able to attend our offices. So would really like to say thank you very much in particular to PIRSA. PIRSA are co-sponsors of this program. We are doing this in absolute partnership with PIRSA. That's the Primary Industries and Regions South Australia Agency. And in particular within PIRSA, Rachel Kelly has been working very hard to make sure that we can deliver this program, and for herself and her colleagues, thank you very much. We hope to see some really significant outcomes. I must thank my team, in particular Sandy Isofelis and Catherine Hughes, who have worked their hardest to make me look good in doing this. They've rolled me in, they've had everything here for me, and I've just been able to go blah. So apologies for my blah, but thank you for their expertise in the background to make sure this all comes together. And for the broader Regional Development Australia, Murraylands and Riverland team, every bit of work that we do here is supported by a whole bunch of work in the background. Participants in the background, in particular on this particular webinar, thank you very much for participating. We really look forward to being able to support you going forward. We've already seen some fantastic outcomes from the previous experts in residence processes that we've run. Now, we do have a Survey Monkey. We would really like your feedback. Just be kind on the presenter, that would be wonderful. So that will pop up very soon. If you could just go to that, there's only about 4 questions. We actually do read the responses, and we actually do learn from them. We value your feedback. So I would just like to say thank you very much. I'm looking to my team to see if I've missed anything. I've got the thumbs up. They have done fantastically well. I've got my sign on the wall over there, which is smile. And I've got my that's a wrap coming up from Sandy over there. So thank you everyone for attending. This will all be available on our website, and look forward to helping you help yourselves going forward. Thank you very much.